What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well on this Monday. And I know I'm a little bit late with this video. I know that some of the excitement has already passed, but it took me a little longer than I thought it would for me to process all the things that needed to be said about the Senior Bowl. But I thought I'd go ahead and post the video now. The game was just 2 days ago, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. And there's a lot to take in during something like Senior Bowl week. So basically, I've made a list of players that I thought did well during the week, and I also made a little list of players that I thought didn't look so well during the week. So, for those of you who are maybe unfamiliar with the Senior Bowl, basically it's an opportunity for seniors who are leaving college football for hopefully the NFL draft to show what they can do against each other. And sometimes it's a good opportunity for players to show that they can excel against the best competition. Like if you're a really good college player, but you played at a really small school or even a Division II or Division III team, the Senior Bowl is an opportunity to show that, hey, I can still perform against really good players from other schools that I never get to play. At the same time, you can also kind of fall for Senior Bowl stuff a little bit, right? A player who didn't look that good in college during his career suddenly looks great at the Senior Bowl. And there are a couple different ways to take that, but one of the ways to take it is, oh, I guess the player's really good, and for some reason it didn't show up during the last 3-4 years, but it showed up during 1 week at the Senior Bowl, and therefore I'm going to assume that that's the real him, and the 3 or 4 years in college was whatever, and then you find out that it wasn't whatever. A great example was LJ Collier. LJ Collier was not that impressive of a player in college, but he was great at the Senior Bowl. So the team decided to just judge him based off the Senior Bowl, and it didn't work out. It was a mess. Nevertheless, let's go over some of the things that jumped out to me. Just random list, random order. Going to talk through some of this. I'm not really going to have anything on screen, so you guys are just going to have to pay attention to what I'm saying. Sorry, I don't have anything really to put on screen here. It took me long enough just to gather all this information as is. Okay, so let's start with the winners. Let's start with the guys who I thought boosted their draft stock. And I'm mostly keeping it just to guys that might be interesting to the Seahawks. Not that I really know who's going to be interesting to the Seahawks, but I can guess. Like, if there's a slot-only receiver who looked really good, like Xavier Restrepo, I'm not really going to talk about that because we don't need that. All right, Mason Taylor, tight end from LSU, looked good catching passes, looked good blocking. I thought Mason Taylor probably boosted his stock a little bit. Definitely a day two tight end now. Tight end class looking pretty good, by the way, which I didn't expect. Jack Beck, who's actually mentioned here on the article that I pulled up on screen. Jack Beck caught the game-winning touchdown catch. It was a walk-off touchdown catch and won game MVP. He's a bigger guy. He should be able to play outside. He's very competitive at the catch point. Very good chance that he ends up being something in the NFL. And look, the Seahawks need another receiver. They don't need somebody to be a superstar. They just need somebody who can play outside and win their matchups. And a guy like Jack Beck, I'm sorry, mispronouncing that last name, I know, might be the guy. Jalen Noel, wide receiver from Iowa State, has the reputation of being just a slot guy, but based on what I saw at the Senior Bowl, maybe he can play outside. Maybe he can actually win outside against jams, against press, and having to win along the boundary. So Jalen Noel is going to be an interesting guy to keep an eye on now, I think. Anthony Belton, offensive lineman out of North Carolina State. He's big, like he's 345 or something, and he's long. He's got the long arms. He might be able to play like left tackle or right tackle, left guard, right guard, and center. He might have that versatility. It's starting to look like he might be one of those guys that can just play almost everywhere on the offensive line. Anthony Belton. Jaden Higgins, the other Iowa State receiver, had a great touchdown catch in the actual game from Ollie Gordon II on a running back toss, a trick play. It was a great catch. And he looked good in practice, man. He was getting open consistently. He was running really good routes. He's another guy that maybe he can be an outside receiver in the NFL. Sometimes it's hard to judge, and sometimes you don't want to take too much away from the Senior Bowl, but I thought he looked good. Syvion Jones, who is an edge rusher slash defensive tackle from LSU. He played edge in college most of the time, and he looked fine. But at the Senior Bowl, he moved inside because he wasn't doing that well as an edge. And when he was matched up against guards, he did pretty well. So we might be looking for a little bit of 3-tech depth behind Big Cat and Murphy. Somebody like Jones in the late rounds might be perfect. Just somebody who can mop up a handful of snaps a game. Just somebody so we don't have to push those guys too much, because I don't think we're going to bring Jaron Reed back, and I don't think Mike Morris or Roy Robertson Harris have much of anything to offer this team. Elijah Arroyo, a tight end from Miami, ran beautiful routes all week, caught a 2-point conversion in the Senior Bowl game itself. Not really a high-profile player during the season, but looked good. And in a tight end class that is quickly becoming crowded, he's starting to stand out a little bit. Demetrius Knight II, linebacker from South Carolina, looked really good defending the run, was flying all over the place, was getting good hits on the running back, was decisive in his decision-making, and it seems like at the very least he'll be a good run defender at the next level. Shamar Stewart, edge player from Texas A&M, did not produce a lot in college, but he looked dominant at the Senior Bowl. So this could be another LJ Collier, very decent chance of that, but this could go the other way. This could end up being opposite of LJ Collier, where the guy actually is what he shows he is in the Senior Bowl, and what happened in college is just, well, who knows? But he's kind of the LJ Collier this year, where he didn't do a lot in college, but that Senior Bowl got a lot of people's attention. Landon Jackson, edge, he's kind of a big edge from Arkansas. He's like 270, but he plays edge. That might work really well in McDonald's defense. He could use a power edge, somebody who can play on the outside but has size, like what he was hoping Draymond Jones would be, and it didn't quite work out, like what he had with Jadeveon Clowney when he was in Baltimore. So somebody like a Landon Jackson, I think, makes a lot of sense for McDonald to covet. Miles Frazier, offensive guard from LSU, really good pass protector. He was very clean in his pass protection during the season and the Senior Bowl. He was winning all the one-on-ones, and he looked good in the game. 4 years ago, or actually now 5 years ago, there was an LSU guard at the Senior Bowl that looked really good, and the Seahawks picked him in the 3rd round. His name was Damian Lewis, and he ended up being a pretty good player. So maybe Miles Frazier is the next Damian Lewis. Quincy Riley, cornerback from Louisville, a lot of plays on the ball. That guy's flying all over the place. He's got size, and he's just consistently able to get his hand on the ball no matter what. So Quincy Riley, definitely one of the cornerbacks that stood out to me in this week. Quarterback. Some of you guys might be wondering, okay, what do you think about the quarterbacks? I'll give credit where credit's due to Jackson Dart. I thought Jackson Dart, the Ole Miss quarterback, looked good out there. The best of the quarterbacks, which, look, it's not saying much. Quarterbacks are not that good. I don't like these quarterbacks very much. He made some big plays, though, made some big throws, showed some promise with his legs. I'll give some credit to Dart. I still don't think he has the big NFL arm that I'm looking for, but if he had the big arm, he'd be a 1st-round pick. If you can get Dart in like the 3rd round, I think that's reasonable. So I'm not against it. There are a couple guys I like a little bit more, but Jackson Dart did probably have the best Senior Bowl of any quarterback. Darian Porter, Iowa State cornerback. I really like these Iowa State players this year, I guess. Very big, long arms, so he's a Pete Carroll cornerback, but he's got really good top speed. He can keep up with players. He's got great closing speed. He can recover. He was, I think, rated like the fastest player at the Senior Bowl this year. At one point, he was running 22 miles an hour. Mike Green, one of the big winners of the week, edge from Marshall, the Thundering Herd, looked really good rushing the passer. Definitely going to be a 1st-round pick at this point. might even be one of the best players on the board when the Seahawks pick, might even be the Seahawks pick. And after what he showed this week, I would not hate it. It's not just talent, he has pass rushing skills. And there's something special going on there. He showed that he can do it against elite competition. It's not just, oh, he's playing at Marshall, he doesn't play anybody. And I'll throw in Jalen Rivers, tackle from the Miami Hurricanes. He's a guy who is very big but very mobile. And this could be another Zach Tom. This could be a guy who can play all 5 positions. Maybe not all 5 elite, but all 5 positions adequately. And there's real value there. So Jalen Rivers, another winner. Those are my winners for the Senior Bowl week. I do have a handful of losers, not nearly as many, but some guys who I think probably lost some ground. Of course, you've got Jalen Milroe, Alabama quarterback. I thought he looked awful in practice, very inaccurate. There was one day where he went like 0 for 8 on his first 8 throws. Just looked like he couldn't play the position. Watching him play is kind of painful. It doesn't really look like he wants to be a quarterback. In the game, he didn't accomplish anything either. He didn't do anything. So, yeah, Jalen Milroe, already didn't like him, really don't like him now. It confirmed my priors. Kind of a mixed day. I don't want to say these guys are losers, but there was a little bit of hype around a lot of these offensive linemen, and they kind of disappointed in the game, right? You got Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. You had Carson Vinson from Alabama A&M, Clay Webb from Jacksonville State. These are all interior offensive linemen projects who come from small schools who looked good in practice, but did not look good in the game. So what do you take away from that? I don't know. Zabel is trying to move from tackle to guard, so a little bit of a transition period makes sense. But none of those 3 guys looked very good in the game to me. I thought that Clay Webb in particular is somebody that I've had my eye on all season, and I thought he looked pretty good at Jacksonville State. But that doesn't mean he'll be good in the NFL. And maybe he's one of those guys who kind of got exposed. Although, again, I want to stress, those 3 guys that I just mentioned all did have pretty good practices. So I don't want to say the game exposed them as frauds. But it is worth noting. Another loser would be Josh Connerly Jr., tackle from Oregon. He was trying to move to right tackle in this week because he was a left tackle in college. Probably won't be able to get away with left tackle in the pros. But right tackle, he didn't look good. He got beat a lot. There was that one play where I think it was Mike Green roasted him. That went viral. And you have to wonder, where is he going to play? Is he going to slide inside? It doesn't seem like it. Is he going to play left tackle in the NFL? I don't think he can do it. So if right tackle doesn't work, he's got nowhere to play. Emory Jones, LSU interior offensive lineman. Very talented, high potential. Definitely a project, but a project. He is not ready to excel at the NFL level. There was a time where Emory Jones looked like a future first-round pick. I don't even know if he's a day 2 pick anymore. And what we saw at the Senior Bowl reinforced what we thought. Ariante Ursary, the tackle from Minnesota, another guy who is phenomenally talented, got great strength. He's big. There's a lot of potential, but he doesn't seem to have a great understanding of how to play the position yet. Technique is not there. So probably going to have to slide inside in the NFL, but either way, he's not ready to play at the NFL level yet. He's going to need some coaching, and he's probably going to need some time. And my final loser would be Wyatt Millham, interior offensive lineman from West Virginia. He played tackle in college, but he looked awful trying to play tackle at the Senior Bowl. He doesn't have the speed and agility. And honestly, he got bullied when he played against bigger defensive tackles. When he played inside at guard, which is where he's going to have to play in the NFL, I think, he got bullied. So he didn't look that strong either. So what do you have at that point? Not much. Might just be one of those really good athletes that doesn't know how to play the position at an NFL level yet. All right. That's what I had for the Senior Bowl. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if anything else stood out to you. Let me know if you disagree with any of my evaluations or agree. And yeah, fun week, guys. But last taste we're going to get of this stuff before the combine in all likelihood. So see you guys later. Go Hawks.